Hyman, this is going to be like an iconic interview for me because when I think of someone who has impacted my life outside of my parents, right, and family members and people who I've known for an extremely long time, this guy has absolutely impacted my life. He is the founder of the Breakfast of Champions. Man, he is the master of the morning routine. I'm happy to call him a mentor and a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guy, Glenn Lundy.
The master of the mornings, but definitely not the master of technology.
Listen, man, it doesn't even matter when you are as good at what you do, right? Stay in your lane, stay in your lane. But
Yeah,
man, this
man.
technology thing, I mean, you're pushing the envelope. So we got to get our arms around technology, right? It's how you're speaking to people around the world. It's crazy.
True. It's true. But I mean, you would think, 1,020 episodes later, you'd think I'd have a couple things figured out, but
I think you got.
man, there's always something.
Listen, man, it's a pleasure to actually be on this screen with you, man. I probably spend more time with you than I spend with a lot of my family members and a lot of my friends for sure, bro. Breakfast of Champions. It has
Man.
changed my life. But before we go any further, who is Glenn Lundy? Introduce yourself, my friend.
I am a husband to one, a father to eight, 25-year automotive professional. I am an author. I am a speaker. I am the owner of the 800% Elite Automotive Club and also a daily morning show host with a daily morning show called GM3X, and then the creator of Breakfast with Champions on Clubhouse, bringing daily motivation, education, inspiration, celebrity interviews, and thought-provoking conversations around the world 6 days a week,
6
8
days.
hours a day.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And you've been doing it for well over a year, right? Almost
Yeah,
2
Breakfast
years.
with Champions it'll be 2 years. Yeah, we're at 20 months right now.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Listen, I came on to Clubhouse, and if you don't know what Clubhouse is, you will know by the end of this conversation for sure. I remember coming on Clubhouse, being in a couple of groups, listening for about 4 months before I started speaking. But I bumped into the Breakfast of Champions simply by coming into the room one day, and you said my name out loud. Right, you didn't have any idea who I was. I didn't know who you were, but after you said my name out loud, I was like, who is this guy? Clearly, he's somebody to get to know. Talk to us about the Breakfast of Champions, man. Clubhouse, and how it even came to be 163,000 members as of today.
Yeah, Clubhouse was crazy, man. Clubhouse just kind of
Crazy.
came out of nowhere. And, it's an audio only app for those of you that haven't checked it out yet. And, you know, I had been doing a daily morning show for 4 years on Facebook, full production. And I have felt called for a while now to help people change the way they start their day. I think if you change the way you start your day, it make a massive impact in your life. And so the daily morning show was a way to do that, to help people change the way they start their day. And that's kind of always been my thing. So then when Clubhouse, not always, but the last few years anyway. So when Clubhouse came out, initially it was just like, okay, I already have a daily morning show. Now, how can we use this app to expand on that to help people change the way they start their day around the globe on another app? Because we've been doing it on, different platforms. And so it really just started with that question, right? How do we continue to expand the mission? The mission is to change the way people start their day. Well, how do we continue to do that? Here's another app that gave us an opportunity. Now, what I didn't know is that it was going to expand even beyond that, to where Clubhouse gives you levels. You can be on a stage, you can be in a followed section, you can be in a new to the room, nobody's following you section. And that goes against my core everything, right? Like I am a everybody gets a seat at the table kind of person.
Yeah.
And so when we started to see the dichotomy of how Clubhouse started to break down, and these barriers that were already starting to be created, things like mod buttons and who gets to come on stage and all this other stuff. I was like, no, 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 no. We ain't playing that game. And so we expanded it to not only changing the way people start their day, but giving everyone a seat at the table. Right. Like it's a powerful thing when you get to be in a room sitting at the table with legends, millionaires, billionaires,
Yeah.
famous people, celebrities. Like when you get a seat at the table, it changes things. And so Breakfast with Champions became a combination of changing the way people start their day with motivation, education, inspiration, and an opportunity to give everyone a seat at the table. And that's what it is now. That's what it's become. And that's, I think, a huge um, part of how it was able to grow and connect with so many people in such a profound way is, like you said, everyone got a name, right? And when you start calling people out by their name and helping them to feel seen, heard, and significant,
Yeah.
it makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Seen, heard, and feel significant. I think that's extremely important. Is that why you think you stand out? Why does Glenn Lundy stand out? Because I think that has a lot to do with it. Helping people to feel seen and to have a seat at the table.
Yeah, I think, luckily for me in my life, or unluckily, however you want to look at it, I've been on both sides. I've been the invisible person on the other side, and I remember what that felt like. When I was homeless, I spent a season of my life homeless, in and out of jail, all those things. And the worst part of homelessness is you become invisible, right? Like people will not make eye contact with you. They'll look above you, below you, left of you, right of you. They won't look you in the eyes. And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, man. And so it is deep rooted in me to make sure that people feel seen, heard, and significant only because I experienced the other side of it. And so I think one of the things that makes me stand out in what I do is I am very intentional. I will take the time, I will take 4 minutes to say good morning to all the people on my live stream. I will take 6 minutes to say good morning and thank you to all the people that chose to share out a Clubhouse room, like by name, one at a time. And if you don't like it, that's fine, get on out. And I don't think a lot of people understand how powerful it is to use someone's name and how it's such a tiny little thing, but it goes a really long way.
It goes an extremely long way. I think when I joined the club, man, maybe we were at 65,000 members, which was huge,
Right.
right? And so it makes a hell of a difference when you use people's names, when you help them to feel seen and heard, and you give them a seat, right, at the world's largest breakfast table,
That's
right?
right.
It makes a hell of a difference. Man, let's talk about the Morning Five, the morning5.com. It also has made a tremendous difference in my life. Your mantra, right? If you can change the way you start your day, will make a massive impact in your life. And you laid out a blueprint for us with the morning5.com. Let's talk about
Yeah, man. I did a study, TM. I was studying success and successful people and looking for patterns. I'm always looking for patterns. I'm always looking for clues, right? And as I studied, what I found is that all successful people, like really successful people, all successful people have some sort of powerful morning routine that taps into mind, body, and spirit
it.
every day, the first hour, first 2 hours of their day. And what time that is fluctuates, right? Some, Beyonce ain't waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. She's still out performing or going to bed,
Yeah,
at 4 o'clock in the morning. So for her, it might be at noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So what time it happens doesn't matter. But what we found is consistent, or what I found is consistent, is that it's always that first hour or two after they wake up. They have some sort of routine that taps into mind, body, and spirit, all three things. And so I tested out a lot of different aspects of successful people's morning routines, right? Like I did the whole cold shower thing, Tony Robbins style. Bro, that ain't for me. Hey, I'm a tropical person. I like heat. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's just a white dude thing. I don't know. But that cold shower thing, I'm out, bro. It did not re-energize me. It did not alert me. It just pissed me off. Is all it did. And so, but I tried all kinds of different things until I found a code that worked for me, right? And once I figured out that code that worked for me, I was able to apply it for years and years and years and see transformation in my life. And once I started to really see transformation in my life, I started teaching that code to other people. And as I started teaching the code to other people started seeing transformation in their life. And so we decided, to write a book around it. We built a planner around it. And now, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people around the world have been able to tap into the morning five simple steps to an extraordinary life, and really being able to shift the trajectory of their life simply by changing the way they start their day.
No, it makes a difference, man. I've always understood that I needed to exercise. I always understood that I needed to keep my health intact, right? I love open air exercise. For me, I run 3 to 4 times a week, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I had been doing it for a long time, encouraging people to get up early, get up, try to beat people, to the punch. The early bird gets the worm. But when I bumped into the Breakfast of Champions at 5 o'clock in the morning, I was like, this is my tribe.
Right?
My tribe. Where have you been hiding? Like for all these years. Because it was a culmination of things that needed to happen, right? Not just exercise in the morning, not just get up, but it was the gratitude factor. It was the writing the goals down every day and
Right.
coupled with sending out positive messages, right? To encourage others every day. What you put out in the atmosphere ultimately comes back to you. And it has made a tremendous difference, a massive difference, right?
That's right.
In my life. Glenn, what
I love that word.
decide to devote your life to the automotive industry? Because you're devoted to the automotive industry in a major
Oh
way.
man. I mean, the automotive industry's been devoted to me. Why would I not be devoted to it? I mean, golly, everything I've built, um, everything that I've built in my life has been made possible through the auto industry, including the daily morning show, including Breakfast with Champions. Like none of those things would have existed if I didn't have the career that I've had in automotive or met the people that I've met. When we first started Breakfast with Champions, I sent messages out to all my friends in the automotive world: Liza Myers Borges, Lisa Copeland, Scott Simons, Brian Benstock. Those
Great.
are all automotive people, right? So the core foundation of that entire show came from my relationships in automotive. But automotive's been my lifeblood since I was 19 years old, man. I started in sales at a Nissan Subaru store in Flagstaff, Arizona, and it's been a part of my life, ever since. And I've had ups and downs. I had seasons that weren't so great, and other seasons. The last, golly, man, the last 12 years have been incredible. But there were some ups and downs. But everything that I learned, even the importance of saying somebody's name, the importance of looking people in the eye when you talk to them, the gift of gab, the ability to listen twice as much as we speak, the ability to encourage people in the behaviors that you want to see more of, the ability to advise people on areas of growth, development, and opportunity, the ability to stick with people and help develop them to move them towards a desired result. All that comes from the automotive space. I mean, golly, my very first mentor was Grant Cardone at 19 years old. I was watching Grant Cardone tapes, and I've been able to follow that guy's path. So the auto industry has always been good to me. I think it's the only industry that was willing to take me in open armed, even though I had a bad background and bad credit, and I was brown in color and all of the other things. The auto industry was like, come on, bro, if you can, hey, we'll give you every opportunity that everybody else gets. It's an equal, you want to talk about equal opportunity. The auto industry is an equal opportunity industry. If you got the gift, you got the gift. If you're willing to put in the grind, you will be rewarded. And it doesn't take a college degree. It doesn't take, coming from a certain background or anything like that. And there's dealerships everywhere in America. So I love the auto industry. I'll always love the auto industry. It's served me well, and I'll continue to do my best to serve it.
Man, one thing that I admire most about you is your transparency, your ability to talk about your past in all of the, the things that exist, right? With no problem, in an effort to help others to realize, right, that there are no excuses, right? Um, have you always been comfortable speaking openly about just who you are, specifically the good, the bad, the crazy? Because the stories often are like, what? Did he really just tell us that? But you do it with ease, right? To where it's like he just told us that. I mean, where does that come from? Using really your past and your failures, right? I mean, to get ahead, to go forward. Everybody's not comfortable with that.
Well, practice makes perfect, right? I've, you know, it's been thousands of times now that I've been able to share different aspects and experiences of my life, and you know, by now, I don't know if there's anything I haven't shared at this point. There might be something that might come up,
You
something.
told us all of it for the most.
And I think what it comes down to, TM, is I have been on a journey of discovering who I am and whose I am for a while now. And once you get comfortable in your identity, I think it starts to unlock like your true identity, not the mask that you put on, not the fake identity that you fell into, not the you know, well, this is who my parents told me I should be, like not that identity.
Yeah,
The true, when you get to the real truth, the child of God, you were made uniquely to be the best version of you that you can possibly be. When you get to that point, I think you start to become really comfortable in your own skin and you stop making excuses
yeah,
for the things that you've done in your life or ultimately for the likability of someone else, for lack of better words, right? Like, I don't like, you like me or you don't like me. I hope you like me. I'm not one of those guys that's like, hey, F everybody. If you don't like me, F you. Like, that's not me. Like, it hurts me. You don't like me. I'm like, dang, that dude don't like me. Like, I feel that, but I will never live my life for that. I will never live my life to try to earn the approval of someone outside of me. I want to approve myself first, and I want to know that I'm walking in God's calling in my life. I know he approves of me, so as long as he approves of me and I approve of me, then the rest, if you on my team, great. If you're not, I still love you, and maybe I'll win you over one day.
yeah,
But I'm not gonna live my life hiding who I am and whose I am just for the benefit of others. And I think hopefully everyone who ever listens to this will get to that point
yeah.
at some point in their life, and that really, it's really just a process of figuring out who you are and whose you are.
I love the fact that you speak of whose you are. I think in a world where people aren't always confident, confident in who they are, let alone whose they are, right?
Right.
And my pillars are faith, business, and leadership. That faith piece is extremely important to me. The fact that you know who I serve, right, is extremely important, regardless of your perspective. And I admire that a lot about you. The faith component that you have no problem keeping at the forefront. When I know for a fact it's not always comfortable and it's not always favorable, right?
Yeah.
Because people have so many different beliefs when it comes to religion and spirituality, and so always respect that a whole lot. Glenn, what's your greatest strength? Because you have a lot of talents that are always on display. But what would you identify as your greatest strength?
I'd say one of my greatest strengths. I think I got some good ones. I've been given some good gifts. But I would say one of my greatest strengths is that I will do things daily that most will do consistently or maybe even rarely. And daily is not a problem for me at all. Like people say, oh, yeah, I work out consistently or I wake up early consistently. I'm like, well, what's consistently? Consistently, what does that mean? That mean once a week, once a month,
Right,
once a year, right? I consistently set goals. Okay. All right. What does that mean? Well, that means I do New Year's resolutions every year, right? Like there's consistently is so broad. You can
right,
make anything consistent, right? I consistently get divorced. All right. Consistently love my wife, right? Try consistently loving your kids. Try that. Yeah, I consistently love my kids. Okay. Well, what does that mean? That means I love them once every 6 months. All right, let's see how that relationship works out.
right.
Right? Consistently is so broad, whereas I do things daily. And by doing things daily, I think that gives me an edge. It gives me more time. I can fly further and faster. Um, and it's just been a gift of mine like my whole life. Daily has never been a problem to me. Now, what I'm doing daily, you know, for a while it was daily cocaine. For a while it was daily smoking weed. It was daily chasing girls, right? Like, there was I'm not saying it was always a positive in my life, but I've always been able to do things daily. And I think that's a game changer.
Why? Like, what is your why? Why are you so consistent? Why do you show up when we know for a fact you can't always feel like showing up? Like, what is your why?
Oh my gosh. Why I do things daily is probably because I'm a freaking addict, bro. That's why I'm addicted to whatever it is that I'm doing, right? Like gambling. I was addicted to that. And so I did it every day. Drinking. I was addicted to it. So I drank every day. I'm an addict. So whatever it is that I dig my teeth into, I'm obsessed with it, right? So I'm addicted to becoming the biggest brand in automotive right now. I am addicted to being an incredible father, man. I took my kids out this weekend, bro. Golly, man. Took them to the movie. Next day, took them to Champ skating rink. Took them to church to make sure they got some Jesus in their life. I'm addicted to being a great father. I'm addicted to being a great wife. I'm addicted to being a great boss. And so that addiction compels me to do it every day. There's no desire to take a day off from these things that I'm passionate about, right? Because that addictive nature. Now, why I'm that way, I don't know, bro. You know, God builds us all uniquely, and I guess a part of me believes that God made me this way because he knew the potential I had to be able to impact lives on this planet. And the job that I signed up for, one in uplifting, encouraging, and helping humans become the best version of themselves that they can possibly be, that job is not a part-time job. That job is not a job where you can take a day off. You never know when that person is about to make a terrible decision and they need to hear your voice. They need somebody to call their name. Like, we don't get to know the timing. I just know I got to show up
Yeah.
in every way. You know what I'm saying? So I guess my biggest why is, obviously my family's important to me, God's important to me, all of those things. But I think ultimately it's I know that I can and I'm passionate about it. Therefore, I do.
Awesome. It's awesome, man. We first met, I believe, in Tampa, Florida, for a meetup.
That's right.
It was me, you, Brielle, I think Alexander, and a few folks,
Yeah.
uh, which was awesome. Since then, we've been in New York,
Yep.
major event, which was awesome.
Yep.
We've been in Lexington, Kentucky, right? Growing for
Of
God
all places.
was awesome, right? We've been here in Atlanta, right? We recently
Yeah.
out to go see Eric Thomas and
Yep.
Deion Sanders. But I'll tell you, in the midst of it all, to hear not only you talk about, but I've spoken to people who are part of the 800% club, right? But to hear you talk about 800% recently, and to look at or to think about your life increased by 800%,
Mm.
it was like, because I literally embraced the concept, right? Of,
Right.
of increasing my life by 800%. Can you talk about the 800% club just a little bit for those who may not be familiar? And how it
Yeah, man.
applies to their life, whether they're in automotive or not?
Yeah. So, 800% is really, it stems from a dealership that I worked at where we grew 800% in just under 6 years. We grew our business 800% in just under 6 years. And it's unheard of, right? Especially we were in a small town. Everybody told us it was impossible. But luckily for me, that opened my eyes. It opened my eyes to this truth. And the truth is that we all play way too small. Right? Like, we're all just playing way too small. Our goals are too small. Your target, I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are or how much success you've had. Your targets are too small. Your goals are too small. Well, Glenn, you don't know me. I'm this, I'm that. Dude, you could be 8x more. I guarantee it, dude. You could be 800% better. You could have an 800% stronger faith, 800% more money. You could, all the things, right? And so when we start to conceptualize what life would really look like at an 800% level, it causes us to basically run into the blocks, the mental blocks.
Yeah.
It causes us to run into those. And once we run into them and we're aware that they're there, then we can start to break those walls down so that we can reach really high levels of success. So, quick example, if your goal is to make $100,000 a year, right? You say you own a small business or something, you want to make $100,000 a year, take that number, multiply times 8. Now it's 800,000 a year. What would it take for your business to do 800,000 a year? You're like, oh my gosh, 800,000. I mean, I don't even know how I'm going to get to 100. Great. You don't need to know how to get there. What would it take? What would it look like if you were running at 800,000 a year? How many employees would you have? What would your office look like? What would you have in place? Like, what would it look like? What new technology would have to be invented? Right? Like, it's a thought process that takes you far beyond where you are. And then you just start to reverse engineer. And maybe you get to 200%. That'd be awesome, right? Maybe you get to 4. Maybe you never get to 8, right? But you increase 500% from where you're at now. I
Yeah.
think that's okay, right? That's okay. But as long as we're sitting here dialing back, going, well, here's this, here's that. This is why, 95% of small businesses go out of business in the first 5 years, right? Because they're thinking if we can just increase a little, a little, and then they run into problems they weren't expecting, and they're not big enough to push through those. So it's just a real big think that ultimately causes you to solve problems you don't even know exist yet, so that you can move forward at a faster, much faster rate, which everybody needs to be moving faster. The world is moving faster, like extremely fast around you right now. Technology is moving fast. It's nuts. So we all need to put some rocket burners on what we're doing, and that's what 800% does. It puts rocket burners under what you're doing, and helps you get to those levels.
We've been hearing a lot about speed and
Oh
frequency,
yeah,
right? And I think I heard Renee Noor mention recently, as she uh, visited Dubai, was that they're already planning on 2063. They're doing
right,
2063 planning when most of us are still struggling with 2022, right? We're not even in 2023 yet, right? And
right.
so we've got to pick up the pace for sure. Glenn, where do you see yourself 3 to 5 years from now?
Ooh, 3 to 5. That's a big one. The next 3 to 5, I think, are super important. I think the next 3 to 5 are actually crucial for anybody that's in business right now or looking to be in business right now. Obviously, the next couple of years, we're going to go through some sort of economic shift. Call it a recession, call it whatever you want. We are going to experience that, and then we might not, depending on how old you are or whatever. There's no guarantee that you're going to be alive through another one, right? And recessions are opportunities. The recessions are when the greatest transfers of wealth happen in this country, right? The biggest names, the biggest brands were all built and developed during a recession, and it's ultimately about finding a problem and being that solution and being willing to go all in while everybody else is retracting. So thankfully, TM, because we are headed into a recession, I feel that my company is positioned beautifully to be able to expand at levels that we actually never even imagined had the economy continued to be going the way that it was going. So I'm super excited. So 3 to 5, I've already told my wife. So it depends on if it's 3 or 5 to answer your question. But I'll be 50 in 5 years and 4 months. And I've already told my wife, give me the next 5 years, 4 months. I'm going to build the biggest brand, the biggest brand in automotive first, 800% elite auto. Then we will have some spokes that are going to go out. We're going to collaborate with some other experts, and we'll have things like 800% real estate, 800% fitness, 800%. All of those different aspects will spoke out from automotive once we cement our foundation. And again, I don't claim to be an expert in any of those areas, so it'll be the proper collabs with other people in those particular areas. But we'll have some spokes that will spawn off of that. We're going to build a massive, massive brand. I'm going to host the #1 morning show in the world, offering people motivation, education, inspiration on a global scale, nationally through national television. We'll have that in place here in the next 5 years, and ultimately, from a family side, we're looking to put ourselves in a position where the recurring passive income level is one where I feel my family is completely 100% out of danger. And at that point, on my 50th birthday, I told my wife I'll go buy her a 2,000-acre farm and let her do whatever the heck she wants to do with the big farm. That's right. Let her do whatever she wants to do with the big farm. Hopefully, we'll be in a position where we can sell off 800% or at least collab or partner with somebody to be able to have me be a little more hands off so that I can start doing more of my creative projects, book writing, and all of those things, world traveling, speaking on all those levels. And so the next 3 to 5 for me is build the empire as big as I can stink and build it so that I can jump on those private planes, travel around the world, let my wife do her farming, and ultimately speak on stages and sign books in my 50s.
Awesome, bro. Man, that's amazing. I need to revisit my plan. Revisit my plan for sure, bro. I appreciate your leadership so much, man. The weight, right? The weight of it all. I've seen the good, the bad, the crazy. behind the scenes, right? That a lot of people don't see, bro. And I think, people always have something to say when people are making moves, right? It's the ones who are making the moves that are most criticized and critiqued, right? Even from people who aren't going to do a damn thing, right?
Sure.
So, I commend you on your leadership. I've even picked up the phone a couple times, like, Glenn, I don't know what the blankety blank, 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 right? And you're like, it's okay. It's okay. What are three leadership attributes that you apply on a consistent basis? This is
I
leadership
think,
on demand, right? I mean, and I think leadership is lacking, bro, which is why I focus on it so much.
yeah.
Appreciate your leadership.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So I have an acronym lead, right? The word lead, LEADD, and I spell it with two D's for a reason. So my acronym for lead is the L in lead stands for listen. We have two ears and one mouth. You're supposed to listen twice as much as you speak, right? Our mama taught us that. The E in lead stands for encourage. We should always encourage people first. And while we're listening, we should listen for opportunities to encourage. Most people are listening for an opportunity to object. They're listening for an opportunity to speak. They're listening to an opportunity to tell people where they're wrong. Listen with the intention to encourage. It changes the way you hear things, right? And it changes the chemistry of that communication with that person. When we're looking to encourage somebody, man, you're doing a good job. I like your shirt. You're amazing. Thanks for the impact you make in my life. TM, this is incredible. Thank you for giving me this space, man. Thank you for creating this space, right? There's a trillion places you could be. You chose to be here with me. That means the world to me, TM, right? There's an energy behind encouraging
Yeah,
people that a lot of leaders miss, right? So we listen and then we encourage. The A in lead stands for advise. This is where we tell people authentically and truthfully the areas of growth, right? We all want to be told how we can get better, all of us. But yet we will all like hesitate to tell people the truth. Like, bro, your breath stinks, bro. Your breath is stinky. I love you. You're my favorite person. I love you. I love how you do this, and that. And I'm just telling you, as your boy, your breath stinks, right? Like that's the you can do that. You can advise people, and we all want that.
yeah, we
But,
do.
but very rarely will a leader actually give that, right? They'll hesitate to give the real areas of growth, development, and opportunity for people. So a great leader will listen, then encourage, and then advise, right? And then develop. The D in lead stands for develop. So please do not tell people what to do without taking the time to show them how to do it,
Yeah,
right? That's the biggest mistake I see managers make is they tell people what to do. They won't take the time to develop. And then the last D in lead is daily, because as I talked about earlier, baby, doing you do anything daily, you become an expert. So it's listen, encourage, advise, and develop, and do it daily is an acronym that I use. Also, I think that it's really important in leadership. I think that it is important to understand that anything that you give attention or energy to grows, period.
yeah,
So if there is drama, if there is negativity, if there is whatever, when you give it attention, you give it energy. That energy will cause it to grow and expand. So I see a lot of people that think, let me make sure I word this right. I've seen in the past, I've had in my life in the past, I've had leaders that will spend so much time trying to fix a problem, solve a problem, talk through a problem, talk about a problem, build a meeting around a problem, and they think what they're doing is moving the company forward when in reality they're just living in the freaking problem, and they're giving that problem energy, and they're
yeah,
giving it fuel, and they're
yeah,
making it a bigger project than it is, or a bigger problem than it is. Because here's the reality: a while ago Ukraine went to war with Russia. And everybody was talking about Ukraine and Russia went to war. And then guess what? After time, they just stopped talking about it. Are they still at war? I don't know. It ain't in the news. You can't. I'm sure if I looked it up, my guess is they probably are. But you ain't gonna see no rooms in Clubhouse about it anymore. You ain't gonna see nothing in your social media about it anymore, and you ain't gonna see the media talking about it anymore. Why not? Because life freaking goes on. We only stay in stuff for so long. That's just the nature of humans.
Right.
So when we sit here and we're digging in on this problem over and over, we're talking about it. I'm like, nah, man, look, there's an issue. Okay, we address whatever we need to address, and then we roll on. And a lot of times people will hit me up, TM, and they're like, oh, you don't care. You should be more vocal. We need to address this, da da da. And I'm like, cool, go ahead. You continue to believe that because I know 3 months from now, you ain't gonna care about this.
Right.
6 months from now, you're gonna forget that it even happened. Right. And so part of my leadership is if there's something that needs to be addressed, we address it quickly, promptly, and that's it. We don't drag it out. And I think that most leaders tend to let those things linger way too long because they feel like they have to address it for everybody. You ain't got to address it for everybody. Address it for the person that is directly involved in that situation and let everybody else say what they're going to say, do what they're going to do, and get back to work. That's the way I look at it. So the lead acronym would be one. Whatever you pay attention to is going to grow. Whatever you focus on is going to grow. And I think another, maybe a little bit controversial leadership um, belief that I have is that just because somebody else messages you does not mean you're required to stop what you're doing and message them back. And I say this because, man, at some point, somewhere down the road, we got these things. We got hooked on these things, right? With our emails and text messages and everything. And people get upset, boy. They're like, man, I sent you a message an hour ago. You didn't text me back. Or I emailed you yesterday. Why didn't you email me back? And I look at him, I said, because I'm building an empire and I'm raising my babies and I'm pouring into my wife. And if I need you or I want you, I will call you. If there's something we got to talk about, we can talk about it. But just because you need something doesn't mean my life shuts down or my dream shut down or my vision shut down or my goals shut down because you need something. Like, I love you, bro. I do. But I'm just telling you, I am not a slave to this thing. Too many people are slaves to this thing. I am not a slave. And it used to piss some, there's people that work for me. It pisses them off. They're like, dang, I sent you 12 messages. You ain't sending nothing back. I said, because I ain't got nothing to say yet. When I got something to say, I'll say it. Right? This is my life. I get to live my life. Right? This is my dream. This is my vision. This is my focus. These are my minutes. I only have so many stinking minutes.
These are my minutes.
These are my minutes. Right? So I'm not responding to you just because you messaging me does not require me to now allocate minutes. I'm sorry, it just don't. And so some people don't like that. They think that's stupid or whatever, but that's how I lead. I talk to the people that I need to talk to when I need to talk to them to help move them forward and to move me forward. And I live my life in a way that people can watch and say, yeah, I want to be more like that, or I want to lead more like that. Like I lead through action more than psychology. I'm not a psychologist. That's not my deal.
The master of the morning routine. That's just honest, bro. And what you've been from the beginning to right now is honest. And that's why I'm a part of your tribe. And that's why, I have supported you, will continue to support you, bro, because you're real. The founder of the Breakfast with Champions on Clubhouse. If you are not tapped in, you are missing something. We are 163,000 members strong. Glenn Lundy, bro.
Hey, thanks, man.
Support you always, brother. Appreciate your time, man. and look forward to continuing to grow with you, bro, at 800%.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Come on.
Glenn Lundy, everybody. Hey, appreciate you, my man.
All
Take it.
right. Hold on. I got to get a picture with you. I gotta get an Instagram story with the one and only TM. All right, you ready? Smile big. Ready? Ah, there it is. Ah. All right, picture for you.
Hey, appreciate you, bro.
Got it. Appreciate you, my man.
Bro.
Take care.